Well, I do notice that, and especially like women around me, I feel there's something happening, that there are like breaking molds, breaking boundaries. Again, the Super Bowl commercial about, equal pay. Like, when is a time that we would have ever seen a car commercial that's in support of equal pay? Like, and, I see women asking more difficult questions of their employers, and I see women, just the fact that they are having conversations, negotiating for pay, that I see more and more workshops on like how to negotiate for equal pay or just, an increase in your pay. And so I can tell, I feel like there is, especially like in the younger generation, women are putting themselves out there more, asking questions and asking more, and oftentimes getting more. So that's great, Yeah, I think all of my colleagues here at Wren, like we are like a close-knit office. We have 8 full-time employees, and everybody has been super supportive of each other. We're always supportive to get this work done. You have to work together and collaborate. So I would say that would be the other big support system that I have. Yeah, just this sense of that showing up, right? You got to show up and do the work every day, and having that persistence. And especially with kind of the educational work and the advocacy work that we do, that it is kind of a long, and the payoffs, you have to wait for the payoff, and not being discouraged by that, but just kind of day in, day out, showing up and doing the work, and it eventually does pay off. Well, I hope that I've kind of created an accepting place to where people can give their perspective on things, and that is a strength, right? That we don't want to make that there is just like a woman's voice, but everyone, to make people feel comfortable, to include people's voices and bring more people into the conversations and the actions that are happening, and to feel empowered and civically engaged, and like you have something unique to add to the conversation and valuable to the conversation. Yeah, I would say primarily my work at Wren, and like there's so many other cool organizations that are doing work like Antebellum, and even like Girls on the Run. There are so many cool feminist organizations that, some have been around for a while and are just like growing, and then some are like brand new and just picking up steam. Like Girls Rock Columbia, they're like doing amazing work. So I hope so. I feel like this is a question that's not for me to answer, right? They have to answer that. But I try to be, and especially one thing that I think about that I didn't really realize for a while, that just the way that you're living your life, it's kind of an example for other women, and that you don't always know that people are looking to you to be a role model as an example, but that I try to keep that in mind. And the thing about everyone has a voice, a unique perspective on things, and just try to be as inclusive and encouraging as possible. I would say to always, respect yourself first, and to like speak up for what you need in the workplace. And so if there is a problem, to like bring that problem to the appropriate people in a respectful way. But unless you don't say something, then oftentimes people don't even know that it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And so that would be the biggest piece of advice, that speak up for yourself. Oh, that's another one of those, like, community's everything, right? And there's the work that we do at Wren. We kind of joke around, like, we could go to the State House and talk about these issues, but like it doesn't that we talk to legislators, that doesn't matter. It's that the community cares about these issues. And so people have to be involved and strengthening their communities, their values, and bringing their voices to their legislators. So the community has so much power in making valuable change that it's possible, I guess, for a person to do that alone, but it's not, as far as like sustainable, long-lasting change, that has to come from the community. Well, I mean, if you look at the numbers of who our legislators are, who is in government, the majority are men. And especially in the South, especially in South Carolina, we have below average numbers on women's representation in political offices. And so there are also very persuasive numbers on men far outnumber women in contacting their elected officials. Men far outnumber women in terms of submitting letters to the editor and talking about the issues that they care about. And so women's issues are just not really brought to the table, and that if women aren't in these positions of power, if they're not speaking up for themselves, then these things just aren't going to be, things are going to continue to be the same. And so I think there is, you know, especially in the South, we think of traditional woman as taking care of other people, and it's really the time that, you know, women start to think about their own needs and like what they need and start taking care of themselves and voicing. I think a lot of women might feel a little unnatural to speak up for themselves and talk about like, what are my rights, what are my needs, what are the barriers to participating more fully in you know, community life. And so that no one else is doing it, that so few people are talking about these issues. That's why we have to, that there's an imbalance in kind of who are the decision makers and what things are happening and who people are hearing from, the decision makers are hearing from. Well, like, I can't remember, who did I talk to before on the email? Who was I emailing?
Me.
Okay, you're just emailing. Yeah, that women, I mean, that women do participate and contribute so much to our community, but don't get recognized all the time for their contributions. I know, I think it's the least that we can do, is to have a day to recognize the contributions that they're bringing to the community, that we're bringing to the community. I think a lot of times because women are, you know, looking out for other people and making sure that, you know, most of the time women are in charge of perhaps like childcare more than their significant others, and you know, making sure that everything's coming together, and that is, you know, that's kind of the mindset, and putting yourself last instead of first. I don't know, I'm so surprised and like, no, it's really fantastic that someone would nominate me, and it's just completely like unexpected and thrilled. So yeah. I think the legacy of inclusion and bringing more voices to the table and really creating this environment of empowerment where more women want to speak up for themselves and let their voices be heard.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And is there anything we haven't asked you that you would like to talk on?
I think that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us, Eme. We appreciate it.